Oh, hello. Well, I thought I'd do a quick video on keeping our eye on the ball. We've all been so focused on the global events with Iran, Cuba, Europe, as we should be. But let's not take our eye off the ball on insisting on free and fair elections right here at home in the United States. So I had a question. My question is, how do other democracies around the world handle the voter ID debate? Spoiler alert, there is no debate. Right now, however, as I'm sure you all know, in the United States, there is a debate, a very heated debate, over what's known as the SAVE Act. Some people say it's about protecting our election integrity. Others say it could make it harder for people to vote.
The U.S. Senate has open debate on President Trump's Save America Act. If passed, the bill would require photo ID and proof of citizenship to vote in upcoming elections. Supporters say it's needed to stop non-citizens from voting in federal elections. Washington Senator Maria Cantwell is among the bill's critics, saying voter fraud cases are rare and the bill could cost millions the right to vote by creating accessibility barriers.
Election day is about having the ease of going to vote based on the fact you have already been identified. But my colleagues would like to throw a big wrench in that and make you find all sorts of documentations in the most unworkable chaos I have ever seen in a system put in a bill.
On the Senate floor Tuesday, Republican Senator Mike Lee argued the bill will help ensure fair elections.
The only people we don't want voting are those who are not citizens and are not eligible to vote. That's all this does. Easy to vote, hard to cheat. And perhaps we don't fear enough what happens when our elections lose their credibility because we don't take reasonable safeguards to make sure that only those who are legally entitled to vote in them are in fact allowed to vote.
So which is it? Security or a barrier? Well, look, let me be a little clear here. If you're already registered to vote, you haven't moved, you haven't changed your name, like most of us, the SAVE Act does not affect your ability to keep voting at all. If you're already registered to vote, voting at the same address, using the same name, you would not need to re-register. And the bill does not require blanket recheck of all existing voters. So if you're listening to this, it probably doesn't affect you. The vast majority of cases, you'd continue voting, just as you do now. The bill does encourage stronger voter rolls. So, if state or federal records are outdated or inconsistent, some legitimate voters could be asked to confirm eligibility, which is why in my prior video called the Dems Unsave Act, check it out, I support provisional voting. If there's a problem with your registration, you can still vote. I'm going to repeat that. If there's a problem with your registration, you can still vote. And then, given a reasonable time, maybe a few weeks or so, to cure any issues that come up. I would also add here that in those cases where citizenship needs to be confirmed, the ID used to vote should be required to prove your citizenship. Obviously, a passport does that, but supposedly only half of us have passports. That's fine. But states should also be required to issue real ID driver's licenses or real ID non-driving licenses that show your citizenship has already been vetted, it's already been confirmed. Look, if my liberal state can do that, so can the others. Now, in many states, non-citizens or even illegal aliens, California comes to mind, can get a driver's license. It's a simple process, though, to differentiate between real ID driver's licenses, one in which citizenship has been confirmed, and basic driving licenses. I mean, seriously, you need real ID to get on a plane, for God's sakes, domestically. The SAVE Act does not cancel all existing registrations. It does not require every voter to immediately submit documents. It does not stop you from voting just because you lack documents right now at that moment. No change for the vast majority of currently registered voters. New requirements kick in only if something changes. So, getting back to my question, how do other major democracies around the world handle their elections? Well, let's start with the basics. In many countries, voter ID isn't even a debate. It's just built into the system. I mean, take places like France or Germany. As in the U.S., most citizens in those countries already have government-issued ID that they use for everything: banking, healthcare, travel, buying a beer, whatever. So when it's time to vote, showing ID isn't some new rule. It's just part of everyday life. There's no separate fight over voter ID laws because, like here in the U.S., the infrastructure already exists. They already have ID. Voter ID isn't treated as a political issue in those countries. It's just treated as a logical one, a no-brainer. So why are Democrats fighting tooth and nail to block this act? It's a rhetorical question. We know why. Many American leaders on the left, not the general population, 80% of Americans want voter ID, but many of the American leaders on the left claim to be concerned that stricter ID laws could disproportionately affect low-income voters, elderly voters, people without easy access to documents, whatever that means, and people of color. How insulting is that? So what can we in the U.S. take away from all of this? Well, for pretty much the rest of the world's democracies, this isn't a political fight at all. It's just part of how elections are run. Common sense. Logical. Voter ID is not even a question. So maybe the real question isn't if voter ID should be required. Maybe the real question is, why are they fighting it? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should we in the U.S. require voter ID, and if necessary, proof of citizenship? And if you want to go deeper into the SAVE Act and how it actually impacts voters, or how it actually doesn't impact voters, check out my previous video right here, the Dems Unsave Act. Hey, look, thanks again for stopping by. I love having you guys. I hope you enjoyed being here as much as I enjoyed having you. And do me a great favor on your way out the door. Just smash those like and subscribe buttons. Really helps out. Thanks a lot. Yeah, this is Mike O'Reilly on O'Reilly's Corner. Thanks again.